Okay, greetings and welcome to the Eccentric Perspective. I am your host, Blake Wally. Sorry, I'm running a little bit late. It is, it's 3:11 on 3/11, March 11th, 2025, and I have a jam-packed show today, so buckle up. I'll be flying by the seat of my pants. But a lot of interesting topics to cover. Here is the thumbnail for today with little Joe Biden and Elon Musk. We'll call it Autopen Autocracy and Knives Out for Elon. Okay, we'll do some headlines. We'll run the intro and then we'll get started. I got a lot of stuff to get through today. But if you guys want to participate, chime in, feedback, constructive criticism, angry criticism, story suggestions, any of that stuff, feel free to chime in the chat and we'll get you up and participating in the show. That's a great question there, Kenneth. What is a Blake Wally? Well, that is a complicated issue. Thank you, Jody. Great to have you here. Again, sorry I'm late. So much stuff to sort through when I just got behind trying to put it all together. It's like putting a massive puzzle and 50 different tabs in the right spots and trying to whip up a thumbnail, and all kinds of things can go wrong. But all right, we'll get it. I'm going to try to get it done in an hour, but this might go over a little bit because I've got 9 topics today. Here we go. Here's the outline. That would be all of Biden's Autopen actions. Do they deserve scrutinization? Should we help Ukraine because they're more American than us? Zelensky, President Z of Ukraine. Oh, that's a single Y, not a double, but forgive me. Must prepare the election for himself and cede land to end war. And is Syria, now are they better off now that Assad was finally removed? Pam Bondi, is she obstructing justice with the Epstein files, etc.? Because there are several more. And the Democrats, are they lashing out at Elon Musk because their cash is cut off? And it's, is it not technically a crime to enter the country illegally? And Thomas Massie, should he be primaried for grandstanding? And finally, Infowars reporter, was he likely targeted in a political attack? So, yeah, these stories, perhaps more. Yes, that is 9, Kenneth. Thank you. There we go. And perhaps more if there's any breaking news, or if you guys want to find something else to cover, something I missed, perhaps. Really didn't get to go through Twitter as much, but it's over the weekend. I should have done a weekend episode. I could have lightened up the workload today, but oh well. All right, well, let's run an intro and then let's get started on the other side. Here we go. Okay. Well, let's start off with the headline story. Oh man, I'm really due for a haircut. Well, we'll get to that. That's not important. All right, let me stop getting sidetracked and focused on the headline story, which would be the bombshell revelation. Hold on, if I can get it on screen. There we go. Bombshell. Oh man, I messed it up again. What the hell happened here? All right, we're going off the rails already. It's not even St. Patrick's Day. What's the matter with me? All right, here we go. Bombshell revelation. Biden's presidency may be entirely illegitimate as the Autopen scandal exposes the shadow government. It certainly is alarming and not good. So what are they talking about? Well, the confused memory care patient here, cognitively declined old Joe Biden. There was a controversy not too long ago with Speaker Mike Johnson talking about how Biden didn't remember signing a specific executive order that was near and dear to his heart for him and his people in Louisiana. But now the scandal is growing. It's finally exposed. Yeah, years that we suspected who's actually running things, who's in charge. Or is he being puppeteered behind the scenes and signing things he probably shouldn't? Unknown. But a Heritage Foundation investigation reveals nearly every document signed during his presidency used an Autopen. So that's raising questions about his level of awareness and control. And the only confirmed document with Biden's actual signature, Joseph Robinette, I believe is his middle name, Biden, was his withdrawal from the 2024 presidential race. And Missouri Attorney General Andrew Bailey has demanded the Department of Justice investigate Biden's mental capacity and the potential exploitation of his cognitive decline by unelected staffers. Like, I don't know, Andrew Sullivan. Who knows? We can all speculate. Just all of the donor class lined up behind him. Perhaps an ambitious secretary, Karine Jean-Pierre. Who knows? Could be Hunter. It could be Jill. So many questions. Guess we'll have to carry out some interviews. But they're saying if proven, Biden's executive orders, his pardons, and official actions could be constitutionally void, marking one of the greatest political scandals in U.S. history. I mean, that should be right up there with anything that they've actually, taken the blame for. Not too many. Kenneth. Yes, the Auto Pen Pal. I like that one. Yeah, well, he wasn't signing it. Now, in the thumbnail, I tried to give him a little barrel of crayons there. I don't know. But, yeah, he wasn't all there. We knew that. We said that for years. And the leftist media pretended like there wasn't an issue. Everything was fine. It was just a right-wing conspiracy until they could cover it up no more after the debacle of a debate against Trump that fateful day. And yeah, it's sealed his fate. And then he actually had a legitimate signature to back out of the race. But yeah, everything else signed with an Autopen. It's all just for show. A pure puppet presidency. And we don't know. So this is, I'm sure this has happened somewhere on the planet. But not in America. You wouldn't think that would come. I don't know. Maybe is there anything going on with Reagan term 2? Some people said that Bush perhaps was running it to some extent. I don't know. But this was pretty blatant and obvious, except for the press that was happy to go along with it, seemingly. It's the Auto friend. The Muppet president. I like that. Good stuff. All right. Well, let's grab this one. These are going to be basically the same things. We'll just riff on the headlines. I don't know what else to add to it. outside of his, this is a potential massive scandal here. I mean, it should be. He didn't know. He admitted it with Mike Johnson. And even when Mike Johnson went to go visit him at the White House, he was being very carefully controlled by all of the who's who trying to protect him. So he wouldn't, be speaking off the cuff. And they protected him from answering questions and so many other, and he has little index cards. It's clearly a puppet presidency. So now it's just trying to find out who was actually behind all of this stuff. What did they know? When did they know it? And can these things be kind of canceled out? And what should we cancel out? Signed a lot of legislation that could have been controversial, certainly was, especially on the first day. So perhaps some of it will be nullified. But that's going to take a while to unravel. Let's take a look at this. White House counselor Alina Habba says that she would challenge the validity of Biden's Autopen pardons. And that the FBI and DOJ are working around the clock looking at Liz Cheney, Pocahontas, and Nancy Pelosi. Yeah, is also the who's who that could have been very influential in making decisions behind the scenes of this pathetic puppet presidency. Let's take a look at this video from Miss Habba on the Jesse Waters show.
In hundreds of billions of dollars of tariffs, and we're going to become.
Let's try to run this at a normal speed so people can understand this. Okay, here we go.
So rich, you're not going to know where to spend all that money. I'm telling you, you just watch. We're going to.
I can't wait to get so rich I don't know what to spend all my money on. Right now, we're in the middle of a trade war. Stock market's getting slapped around a bit. Crypto's got slaughtered all weekend. I think it's just temporary. I'm optimistic, but sidetracked because of this clip.
We're going to have jobs. We're going to have open factories. It's going to be great, and the plane is landing. And thank you for a lot of good questions.
But you see the contrast here versus Joe Biden when they would try to interview him on the plane, and then you would see some of his staffers try to gather around and protect him from answering anything. Like that, there was a famous scene with him and Anthony Blinken. But anyway, sidetrack. Let's get to the major topic here.
Alina Habba is a counselor to President Trump. You've traveled with the president on Air Force One. What's it like when he goes back and talks to the press? Is it hostile? Is it strange?
No, not at all. I mean, first of all, he can willingly go there, and he does because he's not afraid to answer questions. But no, it's not hostile at all. They ask questions. They ask him questions like they do all day, which is what we see from President Trump. I mean, the insomnia comment, Jesse, I just have to go back to it. I mean, the only people that should be losing sleep right now are the Democrat Party. It's the Nancy Pelosi's who we're looking at. It's the Liz Cheney's, Pocahontas. We're looking at all that stuff, and we're going to find out why you're so rich on government money. There's just so much to go into. I don't even know where to start. But who would you want running your country, Jesse?
That was interesting. That's probably one I should have kept in the stack. And Elon Musk has pointed this out on Twitter X on Elizabeth Warren. I forget what her net worth is. I don't know how much she makes between her congressional salary and her being a professor at whatever school. I don't know if it's Harvard or what have you. She's worth, I don't know, is it $60-some million, just off the top of my head? Something outrageous. Yeah, a lot of these people have way too much money. In fact, I think I do have a brief note on that later, going after some of the ill-gotten gains, perhaps, whether it's insider trading or what have you. We notably Dan Crenshaw, One-Eye McCain, and Nancy Pelosi have benefited enormously, but so has Elizabeth Warren, who acts like she's for the little guy, but she's definitely involved in some insider something. Just not entirely sure, but we'll have to start digging in. This is a new era. All right, let's continue to roll the clip.
You want to get advice from Stacey Abrams and Joe Biden, who evidently signed everything with an auto signature, didn't even know what he was signing? Or do you want Elon Musk, to help the commander-in-chief, and there's only one, President Donald Trump, cut waste and make us money. The man is a self-made billionaire. He ran an amazing company. He will run this country that way. So, I mean, look, the proof is in the pudding right there.
There we go. We'll end on that. Proof in the pudding. I like that. Okay, well, I think that's really all I have on that until something else breaks. But yeah, that was the major story kind of going on through the weekend. And we'll keep it alive until we get some answers and accountability. Wow, what a shit show there. All right, let's jump to the next story. Speaking of shit shows, we got Ukraine. Well, and this is a fun little highlight. It's got another video to share. MSNBC guest. This plays into the headline. Should we help Ukraine because they're more American than us? Well, there's at least one person that believes that, and we're going to have to show him here. For the record, it's Iraq war veteran Paul Reichhoff on MSNBC wants USA to stand with its allies. So, good stuff. Saying the Ukrainians are the noble good guys, and in some ways more American than us, or at least we are over the last couple of years. And I think I've got this highlight here as well. This is a good analysis and breakdown here from Clandestine. Showing this clip from MSNBC is the exact reason why so many Americans are unable to properly grasp the war in Ukraine. Because we've been brainwashed for decades to think that Russia are the bad guys. This is not the same Soviet Cold War USSR battle that we had in the 80s that I remember. Of course, that goes on a lot further than that. 60s, 70s. But the Soviet Union fell, I believe, 1991. Things have changed. But apparently this guy from the Iraq war didn't get that memo. That's about the time that war kicked off as well, I do believe. When was that? It was the first one, 89, 90? It's right in that first senior Bush term, but let's not get sidetracked. Let's check out this clip from MSNBC.
The person who's watching,
yes,
who just heard you say Donald Trump is not standing up for Ukraine. What do you say to the person who says, well, I don't care about Ukraine. I want Donald Trump to stand up for America. What do you say to them?
I don't know where you got that. I mean, I don't have time for it.
Yes, but we hear it. We hear it.
Here's the thing. Where did you grow up? Did you grow up in a place where you thought the Russians were the good guys? What part of America did you grow up in where they taught you the Russians were the good guys and our allies were the bad guys? That's the flip here that we need to continue to remind people. The Russians are the bad guys. They're raping women. They're killing children. They're bombing cities. The Ukrainians are the no.
Where is that coming from? He just says, I don't know where he's getting his history. I don't know where he came from. But I guess that's why he's a contributor on MSNBC. He'll say the things that they want him to say. But yeah, it's time for a little fact check and pushback. I got to roll that clip again because that is pretty shocking.
Care about Ukraine. I want Donald Trump to stand up for America. What do you say to them?
I don't know where you got that. I mean, I don't have time for it.
Yes, but we hear it. We hear it.
Here's the thing. Where did you grow up? Did you grow up in a place where you thought the Russians were the good guys? What part of America did you grow up in where they taught you the Russians were the good guys and our allies were the bad guys? That's the flip here that we need to continue to remind people. The Russians are the bad guys. They're raping women. They're killing children. They're bombing cities.
I don't know if any of that has any truth to that. And I think we're over 30 years from the Soviet USSR. I'd be like continuing to call, Germans all Nazis or something. I'd be like, okay, dude, that was a long time ago. Let it go. It's not the same thing anymore. The world has changed a bit. I don't know where you've been. Just got out of his coma. All right, let's keep rolling here.
The Ukrainians are the noble good guys. In some ways, they're more American than we are.
And sorry, one more thing. And it's also said on this clandestine, which we should know. The Russians were our allies against the Germans, against the Nazis. Kind of an important detail there. As much of a monster as Stalin was, any issues that we could have with those old Cold War Russians, they helped the Allies. We wouldn't, Hitler or whatever, they could have taken over the planet had it not been for the Russians on the Eastern Front kicking Nazi ass. And the Allies coming from the West and just everybody kind of teaming up to take out the bigger power. Even, allying with our supposed enemies. Enemy of our enemy is our friend, at least in that case. That was a noble effort. Yeah, I don't know where he's getting his history. I'm curious where he grew up or I don't know where he's drawing this from. Like a parallel world that the rest of us do not live in. But here we go. I guess we can push back ourselves. Yeah, the host should have said something, but I guess maybe she was taken off guard, or at least, they're bringing on the crazy. So they like it because it just goes along with what they want to, whatever narrative they're trying to frame here, which is probably going to be just unlimited, aid and resources for Ukraine and against Russia no matter what, even though things have changed in the last 30 years. But let's keep rolling. There's only a little bit left.
Over the last couple of years. And we must stand with them in the same way we stood with the Allies in World War II and since this country was founded. This is not just about Ukraine.
Stood with the Allies in World War II. He just said it and is completely oblivious that the Russians were our allies.
This is about the core and the integrity of American values. And that's what he's also betraying. Not just Ukraine. He's betraying America.
The person who's watching.
Yeah.
Okay. But anyway, yeah, that was not good. But again, it's fun for us to talk about and to point it out. That's how the news works. People get things wrong, and then there's pushback, and we try to get on the same page somehow. But it usually doesn't work out that way. But we got to get this some of our basic facts straight. So, I think there was another part of this clip in this shorter one where he mentioned that the Ukrainians were almost, more American than we were, which is just bizarre. And they're the most corrupt country in Europe. And they actually have Nazis in their battalions that make up a big part of their military. A lot of history there. It's strange. And it's weird that we're cozying up here. This is not something we should be involved with. But we tried. And it's a big NATO thing. It's a big shit show. And it's complicated. But we've done enough. We've done our part. And now, yeah, Ukraine isn't such a nice kind of... I mean, some of the leadership should probably be removed, including Zelensky. Here's just I ran a bunch of these clips last week. Something else you won't see on MSNBC are Ukraine's recruitment tactics with the way that they kidnap people off the streets to enlist them into the military. Here's another one of those. There's so many of them online, though, of them conscripting soldiers.
What's that? Давайте нахуй. Что? Ёб твою!
Anyway, there's a struggle. Yeah, what do? You're going to be... It's like a death sentence right there. This guy's literally fighting for his life because he knows that if he's going to get smuggled, thrown into the van, whipped, put through boot camp, which is usually shortened by just only into a couple of weeks, and they send them to the front lines to fight the Russian soldiers, and it's probably not going to work out too well. So they are low on funds, low on manpower, and they're resorting to some desperate tactics. Speaking of which, here's an interesting note from this activist here. Ukraine is considering going to the UN. I can't completely verify this, but there's no community notes on it. And they're going to try and charge President Trump with war crimes for cutting off funding and weapons. Now, can't confirm, but this wouldn't surprise me. And let's roll this clip here.
So Ukraine has said that they are considering going to the United Nations to try to charge President Trump with a war crime for cutting off weapons and funding. The level of entitlement that the rest of the world thinks they have in regards to our money and our technology and our weapons is fucking insane. Like, look, I get it. Biden started this war. I get that this war is Biden's fault. But Ukraine, you do not have a right to our money. You do not have a right to our technology. You do not have a right to our weapons. You don't have a right to a single fucking thing in America. And I know that for the longest time, you were misled to believe that America was committed to spending billions and tens of billions, hundreds of billions of dollars, ensuring that you could keep fighting this war, which you cannot possibly fucking win. But that shit is over now. Europe, if you want to defend Ukraine, then defend them. But stop asking us to pay for it. And definitely stop pretending like you're fucking entitled to it.
Okay, well, I think that was well said. Again, can't confirm, but kind of fits in with so many other things. As Ukraine is getting more and more desperate to try to stay in the fight with or without U.S. support, but without us, there's really not much they can do. So would they go to the UN? And what is the UN going to say? Can we continue funding this war? Or, let me get back to the headline. How about this? Zelensky must prepare an election or cede land to end war. Basically trying to squeeze that in there. Because here's where I got it from, and that's Zero Hedge. Zelensky must prepare elections and cede territory to end the war. That's coming from the Trump administration. So he's saying, yeah, begin planning elections or else consider stepping down as a condition for the resumption of U.S. military aid and intelligence sharing. That's another thing that they cut him off from some of the, I believe it's some of the satellites. And then we have a alleged cyber attack on Elon Musk and X, Twitter. I remember it was down for a bit yesterday. I was having some issues with it in the morning. And he says that the ISPs were based in Ukraine. So there's going to be something to investigate there. But probably not a good idea. But yeah, they're just flailing around. And they're in a tough spot. So, but it seems pretty easy to, concede a bit. I don't think the Russians are trying to take over the whole country. They just want a few specific regions with the ethnic Russians that are already there and that want to be part of Russia anyway. So there's really no reason for us to be fighting anymore. To keep people that don't want to be in Ukraine and force them to stay there with the out of control little dictator Zelensky? Not a good idea. American and Ukrainian officials are meeting, I guess, now in Saudi Arabia. And the question of elections in Ukraine have moved to the forefront also as pressure is still on Kyiv to sign the minerals deal. And, give up Donbass. Is it Donetsk and Crimea? Just a few spots. Seems reasonable enough. End the war. Elon Musk also called it out. Ukraine needs to hold an election, and Zelensky says would lose by a landslide. Yeah, he's put forth a lot of fear in his country. People don't like him, and they're really going to turn on you when you start conscripting soldiers, smuggling innocent men off the streets to go thrown on the front lines and turned into cannon fodder. So, not a good idea. All right, let's move on. And again, something we shouldn't involve ourselves in. Here's a flashback from George Washington back in the day. That if he was around, just like Trump, they'd probably call him a Kremlin stooge too. I mean, if you're not 100% for supporting Ukraine, you must be on the Putin payroll. You're getting paid off by the Kremlin, spreading Russian propaganda. It's getting pretty tired. But George Washington and many of our forefathers warned us about that, to stay out of the European wars. Wasn't going to go well. They have different interests we should not involve ourselves in. Now, maybe we could argue World War II was different, because we did have some serious hostile forces trying to take over, and it was a group effort to take down the Führer. We could have been living in a much different scenario. What was that Philip K. Dick book that they turned into a series on Amazon where they showed that? What would have happened had the Nazis won, along with the Imperial Japanese? Not a good thing. Would have been another worldwide tyranny. Eating banana Putin. Good one, Kenneth. All right, well, speaking of Putin, I found a couple of interesting articles. I don't know exactly how credible either one of them are. However, they make interesting points. So let's roll with it. Another one does not have community notes, but this seems to fall in line from what I have gathered. But it's kind of hard to get direct answers out of Putin, and the West is so hostile for getting answers, and they dismiss anything he says anyway. So it's really hard to say what he's trying to communicate with us and the rest of the world. Is he the big monster that people make him out to be? I don't think so. So I'm skeptical. I'm not saying he, couldn't be, but he seems reasonable but ruthless, but reasonable and principled. So Putin says Russia does not plan to attack NATO countries because it would go against common sense. I've kind of said this all along. There was a lot of fear-mongering that, Putin's going to take over Ukraine, then Poland, then, Hungary, then he's going to go into France. It's just like, really? I doubt it. Why would he try to take over other countries of different cultures, especially ones that are part of NATO? Never made any sense. And that's what he's saying here, allegedly, that it would go against common sense. And this is kind of going back to the interview with journalist Tucker Carlson, who's also on the Kremlin payroll. Probably not. But that's what MSNBC would probably say. And here's another post. Now, it does not have community notes. I cannot confirm or deny this. But it was alleged that Vladimir Putin was allowed to speak on a Croatian television channel. And he addressed the Europeans and said, Russia has never been and will never be your enemy. They do not want European raw materials and wealth. They already have all of the raw materials. He said Russia is the richest country in the world in terms of raw materials, resources, oil, so many things. They have a massive country. He says, we don't want your land or territory. Look at how wide Russia is on the map. It's twice the size of the whole of Europe. What would we need your land for? Why do you think Russia is an enemy of Europe? What damage has Russia done to you? They've sold you gas. They've sold you raw materials at lower prices than your allies did. Did Russia sacrifice 20 million people in World War II to get rid of the Nazis? Yes. Was Russia the first country to help Europe during COVID pandemic? Yes. They helped during fires, natural disasters. What has Russia done to you that you hate it so much? Saying Russia is not your enemy. Your real enemies are your leaders, those who lead you. Again, but there is no community notes saying, oh, he never said that. But it kind of fits in line. Maybe that's kind of what I want to believe, but I've never seen the guy as trying to out for world domination. It's one thing when you're liberating people in Ukraine. That's when you have a history. They have, 1,000 years of history of living within those borders before. Ukraine is not some, fixture of stability in Europe. It's changed hands. It's changed borders numerous times. But those people would rather be in Russia than Ukraine. And as far as I'm concerned, we should let them end this stupid war. But if Putin decides to go into NATO countries and completely different cultures, and he wants to just take them over and force other people to live with them, then we have a reason to stop. To stop him in his tracks and to team up and take him down the way the Führer was taken down in World War II. But until then, I don't believe it. It's a lot of propaganda. Thank you, Kenneth. That's exactly it. The man is the man on the high tower. If it's not that, it's very close. I watched it was season 1 of it, and it was very good. It was a little slow moving, but it was thought provoking on what could have happened in a parallel world had the good guys lost World War II. Would not be a fun place. Yeah, Trump no longer putting up with it. Putin be tootin'. Well, yeah, don't go Putin my yard. Yeah, as long as he stays out of other people's yards, I don't see the issue. This war has gone on long enough, and it's time to stop. So give up the land, make some minerals deals, have a free election. I think that's all common sense stuff. All right, well, let's change gears. We'll go to a different country, though. We're going to go to Syria. Do we think Syria is now better off that Assad was finally removed? Talked about this for years. Oh, how bad Assad was, and he was using chemical weapons against his own people. It's like Saddam, or he's another monster like Gaddafi. We said, hey, he's another one of these kind of Putin-ish characters. He's ruthless, but he's principled. And you could knock him all you want, but the people lived in peace. People of different religions, whether you were Christian, Jewish, Muslim, you could all live in peace in Syria. Not saying it'd be a fun place. It wouldn't be one of the first places I'd want to move if I had to leave the United States. A little conservative for my tastes. But hey, the people could live in peace, and I think that was fine. I think things were decent the way they were, but he was seen as a Putin ally, and perhaps there are other interests. Of course, just making it a puppet of the West is always something that the United States is always interested in. A little regime change, which they might have pulled off in 2014 in Ukraine also. Yes, Assad had to be mowed. But Assad has fled to Russia. So how is Syria faring? Are they all living in peace and harmony now that they finally got rid of the ruthless monster Assad? No. In fact, it is really fall into shit. Just like Libya. Hey, you can say what you want about Gaddafi, but the people liked him. But as soon as he started talking about, having his own bank, really kind of pissed off the West and many other things. They didn't like the way he was running his country, although the people loved it. So they had to get rid of him and put in the moderate rebels, the jihadists, the ISIS terrorists. And now we're seeing this playbook play out. Good God, I'm gonna have to pay for the Gateway Pundit again. I'm so sick of all. They got the worst ads on there. It just really distract from the material I'm trying to cover. All right, well, let's, I'm not going to get distracted here, but graphic warning, we've got over 7,000 Alawites and Christians massacred by Islamists in Syria as Israel is sending the cavalry to the rescue. We shall see. I think Israel weren't they kind of also behind this? The get rid of Assad? I don't know. I'm going to refrain from having an opinion on that one yet. Our ally over there. So mainstream media is continuing to ignore the ongoing genocide in Syria as the Islamist militia went on a killing spree in where the Alawite minority lives, and desperate Christians appealed for help. I'm not going to show a lot of these videos. There's tons of them. And it's horrific. It's gruesome. A lot of people just getting slaughtered just for, having different religious views. Here's another one. West-backed jihadists in Syria massacre over 1,000 Christians and Alawites. From the radical Sunni Islamist militants. Mass killings. And expect this. Yeah, this was from a few days ago, so it was just 1,000. It's multiplied 7 times, and who knows how much worse it's going to get. But we were all warning about this for a long time. Assad might be a bad guy. Might be. But compared to these jihadist animals, he's an angel. Think those people would love to have Assad back if they could? What are we doing meddling around in there? By proxy. Yeah, they demonized that guy for a long time, like he was the worst thing standing between the people and their freedom and prosperity. But it didn't turn out to be the case. And Tulsi Gabbard warned about this. You just create a power vacuum. And you put the worst people in there. And she's even saying, I have no love for Assad or any dictator. I just hate Al-Qaeda. And I hate that our leaders cozy up to Islamist extremists, calling them rebels. So, yeah, it's another Al-Qaeda offshoot, much like ISIS. Violent terrorist extremists. Okay, well, not cool. That's what's going on there. You might not see that on MSNBC. She had it. Good stuff, Kenneth. I could put that overlay on, but God, it makes everything so tiny. But I do appreciate your commentary, Kenneth. I'll try to incorporate it as much as I can between sections when I'm catching my breath. Appreciate you as always. Assad's crabgrass. Wonder what Assad is doing now in Russia. Poor guy. I mean, he's got to be watching in horror, watching his people get slaughtered. And there's nothing he can do about it. What a disaster. Another one. United States, we just should never be involved in any of this stuff ever again. after Ukraine and Syria and Libya and Iraq, so many other places, if we had just stayed out. Anyway, all right, let's move on. New topic. Pam Bondi. Is she obstructing justice with the Epstein files, etc.? Well, here we go. It's March 11th. Apparently, it's still Epstein files not release day. It's not misspelled, but I get the idea. It's Epstein files not release day again, like Groundhog Day. We're still waiting. Oh, please stop with your music videos, RTM. That's super annoying. How do you shut off the music? Thank you. Okay. Maybe it heard me. I don't know. All right. Ah, you son of a... I just can't get it to stop. I don't have to stop using your site. I like your articles. But for frick's sakes, the pop-up videos with the music are just super annoying. All right, but we got Anna Paulina. Speaking of annoying, how annoying is it that we still can't get the Epstein files? And Anna Paulina Luna is on it, dubbing the DOJ's silence on the Epstein files disturbing, as she puts the pressure on. Apparently she, oh great, here's another RTM. You can have this. Shut off your music. Thank you. Now I've got it on 2 pages. All right, well, let's stop using your site, much as I like it. But MLK RFK files were given the March 9th deadline. And as I've said, it is now the 11th today. So we've already blown by another deadline. She supposedly had a truckload of evidence dropped off from the FBI office. And they just had to sort through, maybe redact a few names of the victims, what have you. But we've still got nothing, as far as I can tell. Looking at your comments. All right. As I gather my thoughts. Not good. So we got MLK, RFK, JFK, Jeffrey Epstein. And we'll go a little further. We've also got Seth Rich back in the news. That case is still going on. Law enforcement investigation. But I don't get it. I mean, if he was just gunned down in the streets from a botched robbery, why couldn't they possibly share that? Why must we wait 66 years? And it's another laptop. I keep forgetting. The FBI. They got the Hunter Biden laptop. They got the Anthony Weiner laptop. They got the Seth Rich laptop. And they're supposed to release all these files on these assassinations. Nothing has come out, despite their bold promises. It's not good. And I'm not optimistic about any of that stuff coming out. People are really disappointed with Pam Bondi, myself included. She seems to be stonewalling. She never should have said anything, but now that she has, I guess it's good. Now we're getting more pressure on. And Congressman Luna is on it, as there's so many people that are vocal on Twitter. And I'm optimistic about Kash Patel, who's should be on top of this. And he's actually going to be breaking protocol now. He's going to be bypassing Pam Bondi and establishing a direct line to Trump's Oval Office. So maybe she has, maybe she is. She's actually gatekeeping. Stonewalling and gatekeeping Pam Bondi who was the attorney general in Florida as well, who was protecting Epstein. Is she doing the same thing again? And is it time to toss her? I know it's only March. It's barely been 2 months. But this is not working out well so far. And in some jobs, you kind of mess up your probationary period. And maybe, I don't know, is there somebody else that's willing to step up? Can we bring back Matt Gaetz, who was the first choice anyway? That would be cool. So disappointment there. Although, there's some good developments. Tulsi Gabbard has revoked security clearances from all the 51 spies who lied, including former Secretary of State Blinken. Letitia James, deep state lawyers, like Parker Cooey? I forget. But tossing Blinken and Jake Sullivan, Alvin Bragg, Lisa Monaco, I guess Norm Eisen, who was the man behind the curtain with all the lawfare against Trump. So, they've neutered all of these dirty spies who derailed Trump's election plans in 2020 by lying about Hunter Biden's laptop. So that's good. We've also got Marco Rubio. Well, I guess that's getting into the next story, so maybe I'll start there. But there's 9 topics today, so we're going to go through fast, and I'm already pushing the hour already. What was Blinken thinking? It's a good one, kind of. All right, how far am I through here? Am I over the halfway point? I believe so. Pam Bondi, is she obstructing justice with the Epstein files, etc.? Yeah, absolutely. The deadline was Sunday. What have we gotten? Just one of them. I mean, just one of those things. The MLK thing, the RFK thing, the JFK, the Seth Rich, the Epstein. I don't expect the Epstein one right away. But even one of those, at least that gives us something to talk about for a week. But what's the holdup? On all of them? You can't just give us one, maybe just one per week for the next several weeks? Yeah, you're right, Jody. I guess Cash is not off the hook either. I mean, I have a lot higher hopes for him than I do with Pam Bondi. So I hope he'll do the right thing. And maybe if he's going to bypass her because she's an obstacle, or you call her up and you say, hey, can you do this? And then she goes, oh yeah, no problem. Yeah, let me get back to you. And then she never does. After a certain time, you just like, okay, well, why am I even bothering? Why not just go straight to the source? Sorry, Pam. It's time to, you get bypassed. So, all right, but we'll move on. Democrats lashing out at Musk because their cash is cut off. Certainly seems to be the case. He is really going through some tough time. And, kudos to him for standing in there and, taking a lot of arrows and a lot of heat, trying to do the right thing, trying to help clean up government. Democrats really going after him in a big way. So you got Marco Rubio declaring U.S. aid audit complete, and the vast majority of foreign aid programs will now be axed. So that's good. So I think it's 83% of all of those programs have been canceled. I don't exactly know how many billions of dollars that is so far, but it is very significant. And it's really upsetting for the Democrats. Their big slush fund has been taken away. And Musk saying, yeah, Democrats don't want the waste and fraud to be turned off. It's sad. It's sad for the rank and file followers. You'd think they would all agree with this. We want to get rid of waste and fraud and get the money out of politics. But since it's their own people and they can't think for themselves and they just get riled up by the news that they consume, they seem to blaming Musk when they should be mad at the people wasting money. It's also saying it's a gigantic magnet to attract illegal immigrants. Was this when he was on with Larry Kudlow the other day? Let's check out a clip.
That is also a mechanism by which the Democrats attract and retain illegal immigrants by essentially paying them to come here and then turning them into voters.
Yes.
So this is why the Democrats are so upset about the situation, because they're losing, if we turn off this gigantic money magnet for illegal immigrants, then they will leave and they will lose voters.
Yeah, that's another thing. When you start deporting illegal aliens that shouldn't have been here in the first place, that was their big plan, seems to be. The Democrats trying to get all these people in over the border and find some way to give them voting rights. Then they can secure elections going forward and keep themselves in power. But without that base, they're in a lot of trouble. And they know it. And it's weird how they're trying to fight so hard to keep the illegals here. In fact, I've got a clip coming up about that. Let's finish this subject up first. We've got Elon Musk revealing the big name Democratic donors funding attacks on Tesla stores. So it's actually like a coordinated effort, and it's all these like AstroTurf activists. So they got protests for Tesla. He says there's 5 groups behind the protests. Not all of this has been substantiated, but some have resorted to violence. And he's saying that these groups are all funded by Act Blue. That would be the troubled Democratic Party fundraising organization backed by George Soros and the LinkedIn founder Reid Hoffman, who was, I believe, confirmed to have been a frequent visitor to Epstein's little pedo paradise island. So an investigation has found, there's 5. The Troublemakers, Disruption, Protest, Rise and Resist, Indivisible Project, and the Democratic Socialists of America, amongst a few, but he's naming names. And it was also revealed this week, 7 Act Blue senior officials have resigned, including the Associate General Counsel. So that's huge. All of the, as we unravel everything with USAID, the slush fund, the AstroTurf activism, the founder or the funders, the donors, what have you, all being brought out into the light. And they're funding these protests and so many other things. It's creating mayhem for Musk. Even got it going in France. I'm a little worried about showing this clip, but it's not really a clip. It's mostly censored here. I don't know if I'm going to get pulled off of YouTube for it, but there's a few boobies in this picture, so don't get offended, but they've censored it. You've even got these, it seems like all the activism in France, they get these French women. Here it is. Any world event happens and the French feminists protest topless. Good for them. It was interesting to say, the good guys are the ones wearing swastikas, dressing up like Hitler, torching electric vehicles and trying to assassinate people, while the bad guys are the ones building EVs, trying to end government corruption and securing free speech. Yeah, it's like the inverse. We're in some strange, bizarre, alternate timeline. I don't know if these people are just wind-up toys. They don't think for themselves. And somehow they think Elon's a fascist for, again, getting rid of the waste, fraud, and abuse. It's crazy. Hooties. Yeah. They're getting rid of that, right? Is Hooters out of business now, or are they just closing a lot of their stores? I'm not even sure. Seeing a lot of these major restaurants are no longer in business and they're struggling. But I guess part of the title I had was the knives out for Elon. Kind of thinking of the comparison here. I don't know if you guys have seen that movie. It's a great movie with Daniel Craig. Knives Out, American mystery film with Daniel Craig as the gentleman investigator, gentleman detective. It's famous, and he's trying to find a murder. I don't want to spoil it for you guys in case you haven't seen it. But one of the problems is this old rich guy, Christopher Plummer, and the family's struggling over the inheritance. And one of the guys, Chris Evans, kind of the spoiled trust fund kid, who retaliates because they're going to cut off his money. And he lashes out, much in the way that these U.S. aid people, now they're having protests, they're going after, targeting Tesla, causing mayhem, because their money's getting cut off. That's it. So I drew a comparison and I asked Grok about it. Yeah, Ransom, that would be the Chris Evans characters, the spoiled, entitled trust fund kid who's used to living off his wealth of his grandfather. And when he gets cut off, he gets a bit vengeful about things. Throws a temper tantrum. So anyway, drew that comparison, but I don't want to spoil the movie or spend too much time making the comparison, but just to explain the thumbnail and the story, one of the top stories of the day. That's where I'm getting that from. And in fact, of course, we've got also hit by the cyber attack. This could have been also related with this. He's been critical of Zelensky and Ukraine and the amount of money we're spending over there. And lo and behold, we get a cyber attack on X. And that affects everybody. It's not even just Elon. It affects me too. And so many other people that love to go to X for all the breaking news and hot takes. And they tried to take it down. So it's a pretty personal war. And he's really, yeah, they got the knives out now for Elon. Which goes back into, yes, this picture from the thumbnail. That's from the movie. Knives Out. If you haven't seen it, I highly recommend it. The first one. The second one's got a great cast, but it's got some holes in the plot. It just doesn't quite work the same way. Even though it's still relatively entertaining, the first one was by far the best. Right. Hey, Rick, how you doing? Yeah, no worries, buddy. Glad you could make it. I'm going to try to keep these reasonably short in case you guys don't have to always catch it live. We'll try to keep the archive reasonable so you can catch up on all the news highlights if you want. But it's always good to have you guys live in chat as well. Okay. Well, let's probably switch gears. We'll change it up. I think I got a few other odds and ends to talk about, and then we'll call it a day. We're already at the hour and 4 minute mark. Okay, Let's jump. Well, there's a few other little topics. Won't get into this too much. James O'Keefe, he's really cornering this on the Act Blue and the massive fraud. Any of these like campaign donors innocently trying to give money to the Act Blue activists, and then they're doing really shady things with your emails and your donations, and they're really. Well, let's let James explain some of this.
FEC data shows that some senior citizens across the U.S. have been donating thousands of times per year. Some of these individuals' names and addresses are attached to over $200,000 in contributions. We went and knocked on a few of their doors to corroborate the data that we received. We're wondering if these donors are victims of what appears to be a money laundering scheme. Cindy No of Annapolis, Maryland, who in the year 2022 allegedly contributed over 1,000 times to Act Blue, totaling $18,849.77. That means Cindy would have had to donate 3 times a day, every day for the whole year. My name's James O'Keefe, and we're doing a story on the number of people that have donated. You did donate to Act Blue, right?
Once in a while.
What about $18,850?
No, I don't think so.
You know people are using your address?
I don't think so.
Yeah, so it's time to really take a deep dive into Act Blue and see what they're actually up to. Doesn't look good. This AstroTurf activism so that they can put some of these crazy leftists on TV to spew their leftist nonsense, including JoJo from Jersey, who got destroyed on the Piers Morgan show with her radical extremist ideology, talking about that men can be women. You have to check this clip if you haven't seen it already. This is hysterical and sad, but mostly entertaining.
Jojo, I'm going to ask you a question, a simple question. What are you talking about? Give me a simple answer, Jojo. What is a woman, Jojo?
Yeah. Well, a woman is whatever. If you feel like you're a woman, then you're a woman. I know I'm a woman. I identify as a woman.
So if I feel like a woman right now, I'm a woman?
I'm not threatened.
Hang on.
What would you feel like? If you feel like you're a woman, it's your identity,
sure. So hang on, just to be clear.
I'm sorry, what's a man? Piers, what's your definition of a man?
Just to be clear.
What's your definition of a man?
So just to be clear, if I feel like a woman right now, I am a woman. Is that your position?
And if you feel like you are a woman, Piers, and you want to walk around identifying as a woman, it is not my prerogative to tell you that you
cannot. Am I a woman?
I identify as a woman. What is a man, Piers? What is a man?
Oh, a man is
Donald
an
Trump
adult
a man?
Human. That's it.
Piers, can I jump into that question?
Adult
human
male.
Adult human male.
Adult human male is a man.
An adult human male.
Can I finally get
and a woman is an adult human female. Adult human female.
Ask me what a woman is. I am a woman. I identify as a woman.
Okay, but just to be clear.
Can I answer that
yes,
question?
hang on, Matt. I'm going to bring Matt in. I just want to
Matt, you
double
really
down on
need to
this.
stay out of this one, friend.
I just want to be clear, Jojo.
You don't want to go here, Matt.
Jojo said if you feel like a woman, you're a woman. So, Jojo, final time. If I now say I feel like a woman.
It's not about
No, sorry,
biology,
I'm asking you a
identity.
question. Stop talking. If I now say I feel like a woman, am I a woman? Am I a woman?
Look at her. Oh, God. Like, she can't believe that the other people on the panel are not in full agreement with her. The insanity.
Like a woman, am I a woman?
Oh, God.
Am I a woman? If I say
If
I
you
feel
feel like a woman, you're a woman.
Wow.
What does that mean, though? What does that mean?
Yeah, so I am all for pulling the funding from whoever is paying that woman and so many other of the people that are with her, like her. And they're just dangerous insanity, just dumbing down the public. So whatever that is, it needs to be stopped. She needs to be stopped. I mean, we can all laugh at her. I mean, I guess that's fine. I mean, how much do you have to get paid to go out there and spew that insanity? I don't get it. Who is this JoJo? Yeah, there's a whole bunch of these people. I don't know if they're the Midas Touch or if it's Act Blue. I don't know who's paying all of them. They're the AstroTurf activists. There's many of them on Twitter X. She's JoJo from Jersey. And then there's a whole crew of similar people, and they all kind of coordinate with each other. Won't go with one like Brooklyn Dad. I don't know about the Krasenstein sisters or brothers, whatever. There's several of them, but they typically stick to these bizarre talking points. But it's good that Piers has some of these extra voices on the show so they can get justifiably roasted. Okay. All right, but let's one final note on this. Got Representative Tim Burchett of Tennessee urging Elon Musk and Doge to investigate Congress for their ill-gotten gains and cites the Ukraine war spending. Fully in agreement with this. And I know Elon Musk is on top of that as he directly called out Elizabeth Warren for being for having tens of millions of dollars when clearly that is not part of her normal salary. So we're wondering where a lot of these people are getting so rich from. A lot of it is probably tied to U.S. aid or other slush funds and insider trading. I guess we'll have to dig in and find out. So good to see. So yes, they're very upset and lashing out at everybody. Okay, let's get a few more topics. Try to wrap this up quick. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, he's not my guy here in Tennessee. Well, he's not. I don't know if he's in my district. I think it's somebody else. But no, it's good to see. There's some good lawmakers here. There's some good ones out left. And we'll support them and get rid of some of the other ones. Hopefully. Okay. Like, speaking of that, another one in Tennessee who's not so good. That would be Jasmine Crockett. This is one of the final topics here. Is it's not technically a crime to enter the country illegally. At least not according to her. No, I'm sorry. She's not Tennessee. She's Texas. I thought she was Tennessee. All right, my bad. Well, whatever. Oh, man, another one of these ads. Okay, let's check out some more insanity on MSNBC with Miss Crockett here. And her, yeah, it's weird. This ties into what Elon's warning about. You know, Democrats want to keep illegal aliens here. And then they're going out of their way to defend them and try to prevent them from getting deported because those are their future voters. Otherwise, what sane individuals are going to try to re-elect Jasmine Crockett? Here we go.
It is not a criminal violation to enter the country illegally.
I mean, she just contradicted herself in one sentence. That's bizarre. Let's play that again.
It is not a criminal violation to enter the country illegally.
It's not a criminal violation to enter the country illegally. Oh my God, she is retarded.
It's not a criminal. It's a crime. It's not a crime, which is why they're so frustrated, because they really want our local law enforcement to go out and round up people when they could be looking out for the murderers and the sexual abusers as well as the robbers. They want them to go and round people up on civil accusations.
This is also said something. Was it Jamie? One of the Presley lady, another outspoken activist representative who was saying something similar, trying to stand up for the illegal aliens, saying that that people in this country are committing crimes too. Yeah, but they're born here. They're legally supposed to be here. As other people should not have been here. So what's the point? I don't know. They are losing their minds and doing mental gymnastics with their insane leftist ideology. Hey, Rick, asking, are we going on tonight? As far as I know, we are. I don't think that we've canceled the show. I haven't heard from Mike directly, but I know that he was at a conference this week. I think he was in Florida, or I might be wrong. I know he was out of town doing a speech, and he had to cancel the show yesterday. I was presuming that he was flying back in yesterday and was unable to do the show, but I think he should be back today. I'm sure he could probably go for an hour, but I can't confirm that 100%. But as far as I know, we're on for tonight for a Toxically Masculine Tuesday. All right, there we go. That'll be on with Mike Barra, Dr. Brooks Agnew, Trail Boss Steve Doran at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, the best roundtable on the internet. And yeah, I think all systems go, but we'll stand by in case Mike cannot make it, or if he's still out of town, or if he's jet lagged, or who knows. But I think we're going to be on later, so just in a few hours from now. Appreciate your support. If you guys want to check that out, it'll be on Mike Barra's Twitter feed, his YouTube's, his Rumble. It'll probably be on my Twitter feed as well. So that's coming up. All right, well, got two more topics to talk about, quick ones, and then we'll run. How about a little criticism for Trump? People are kind of torn on this one. What is that? It's that Thomas Massie. Should he be primaried for grandstanding? So, weird development. Trump pledging to lead the charge against Representative Massie and likens him to Liz Cheney, saying that he should be primaried. He said this out on Truth Social, later reaffirmed it again for Telegram. So, yeah, the gloves are off. It's personal. And he's pledging to lead the charge against Thomas Massie, who most people like, including myself, as being kind of a true kind of a libertarian, true conservative. Being very careful about what he votes for. Generally says no a lot on things, especially when it comes to spending money on things that we shouldn't be. And Massie fired back, leveraging the incoming fire as a fundraising opportunity while declaring he would seek re-election. So here we go. We got another big public feud. I don't like the fact that Trump likened Massie to Liz Cheney. That's awful. That's not true. That's a bit of an exaggeration there. Liz Cheney is terrible. Her father was a war criminal, and she lied and put innocent people in jail for January 6th, and tampered with witness Cassidy Hutchinson, and had to be pardoned. Of course, she lost in a primary in Wyoming, which was nice. Good riddance to her. But Trump said Congressman Thomas Massie of Kentucky is an automatic no on just about everything. And yeah, it's good. People are tired of not having a balanced budget. We're always spending too much and not taking enough in. And we appreciate Thomas Massie for his being a voice of reason. And Rand Paul. Anyway, so a little drama going on there, but here is the tweet here. We appreciate it. Thomas Massie, why don't more representatives stand on principle? Because telling the truth can get you in hot water. He's going to run again because we need one person in Congress who won't cave. Yeah, we need that sort of, that libertarian, maybe even a contrarian libertarian. We don't have Justin Amash anymore. And sometimes they would be obstructionists, but sometimes they did the right thing. I don't know. I like Thomas Massie. I guess Mike Lee stood up for him too, saying he's got nothing but respect for Massie, was worked harder than perhaps any member of Congress to bring federal spending under control. And he might vote differently on this matter than most. But if he does, he usually has a really good reason. And that's true. He doesn't just go run away when he votes on something. Like, yeah, he makes very, thoughtful, measured responses to things. You know that he actually looks at everything, does careful consideration. You don't have to agree with everything, but I think he's been a positive guy, one of the better congressmen. So I'm a little disappointed here that Trump has gone after him. And we're disappointed that we're not getting anywhere with the Epstein or any of the assassinations, any of that information out there yet. Here's Declaration of Memes. This is one of my favorite accounts on Twitter, saying this Massie gets it. Because Massie has said, he's got so many good tweets, but here's one of them. Like global warming, global terrorism, the global pandemic, and global war are all used to scare people into giving up liberty for global government and global corporations. Absolutely. And there's many more. I won't spend too much time on this. We'll see how it develops. Maybe cooler heads will prevail and they'll back off. It's not really good to have any of the infighting between people we like. Thomas Massie. Yeah, he's good. He's one of the, he's one of the small handful of people that I really generally like. A lot of people do. So this is not advisable by Trump, but whatever. He's got his reasons, and there's some backstory. And I know Massie, I believe, was more on the bandwagon of Ron DeSantis before he was with Trump, and there's some history going back even a few years. So there's more to it, but not the best development. Yeah, Liz in Chains be. Yeah, she should be. Without that pardon, she would be. And maybe even with it, there'll be something they can do to do something. All right, well, I am up against the wall. It's a little bit longer show, a lot of stuff going on. At the hour 22 mark, I'm going to cap it at an hour and a half. Maybe a couple other quick ones. Yeah, we at least we still dodged a bullet by missing Kamala. It was she made I want to say headlines, but she was in the news today for another one of these word salad responses and a failed attempt at humor that bombed. That was funny, so maybe we'll run a quick clip here from that. How about this? Kamala trying to explain innovation at a conference in Las Vegas. Hey, but someone's going to pay her to speak. I don't know why. And you have to see these. There's so many of these gaffes, embarrassing moments. I don't know what planet she lives on. Not with the rest of us. In her own little world. Let's hear her in her own words.
So I was willing to give up whatever might be the tracking of Kamala Harris's particular fondness for nacho cheese Doritos for the sake of getting a big bag of Doritos as I watched the Oscars.
That's the consumer behavior.
And that's right.
There was a joke that bombed about her watching the Oscars. Apparently she likes Doritos. Let's roll this again.
The tracking of Kamala Harris's particular fondness for nacho cheese Doritos for the sake of getting a big bag of Doritos as I watched the Oscars.
That's the consumer behavior.
And that's right, but here's the thing. At what point do we also uplift and highlight the consumer's right to also expect, and you can debate with me if it should be a right, I think it should.
I think she's drunk again, and I don't know if you guys can hear her anyway, but she's not very good at these things. She really needs to just step away from the public, but I guess she spent so much money in the election, maybe she's in debt, and if she can get a paid speaking gig in Vegas, she'll take it. But man, we dodged the bullet. I can criticize Trump for his criticism of Massie, but it could have been so much worse if we would have had Kamala.
Oh, no.
You think you just fell out of a coconut tree? You think sitting in the content. It isn't you on television. Mike, look at her.
No. Oh my God. All right. Imagine that. Oh, the man in the high tower. Imagine the parallel world with Kamala Harris as our president. God help us. Okay, what else do we got? Last one, sad note. Won't spend too much time. I got to get out of here in an hour and a half. But this also could tie into this whole Elon thing, knives out retaliation, and that's the final topic I have. The Infowars reporter, was he likely targeted in a political attack? So this was some horrific breaking news from Infowars last night, and it was all over Twitter. Yeah, you're right, Rick Norman. She's drunk. I wonder what she does. Her and her husband. What a toxic relationship that must be. Oh my God. Could you imagine? He's no saint himself. He knocked up the babysitter or something. I don't know. They're unhealthy people. Just thankfully we didn't get stuck with them. He would have been the first husband with cackling Kamala. All right. Well, on the sad note of the day, Infowars reporter Jamie White brutally murdered around midnight on Sunday. Gotta say, I'm incorporating some more Infowars stuff. I kind of had a little falling out over the years, and I really wasn't paying much attention to them. They've changed things dramatically. I kind of remember when it was mostly like Paul Joseph Watson or Aaron Dykes or Kurt Nimmo or some of the other previous writers that they had leading up to the first Trump term. And I've kind of tuned them out over the years, but they're still going, and that's great because it looked like they were going to get shut down for a while. But I'm not too familiar with this guy, but apparently a good dude. And he was murdered horrifically in the parking lot of his apartment building as he was leaving the studio, I guess. Here he is. Here is the other tab here. Not good, but this is from Alex Jones. We're deeply saddened to inform that Infowars reporter Jamie White brutally murdered, and he's blaming it mostly on the Soros prosecutor from Austin, Texas, Jose Garza, because who knows how many illegal aliens or whatever they got running around, Venezuelan gang members or criminals. Said the pledge that Jamie's tragic death will not be in vain, and those responsible for the violence will be brought to justice. And yeah, it's a terrible development. So I guess prayers out for them. It seems like everybody's under attack. Elon and Infowars and anybody else. They're not taking the loss of this election very well, or the loss of their narratives. They seem to be easily manipulated. But anyway, we'll see. Hopefully they'll get an investigation and find out whoever was responsible and bring them to justice. But I am going to run, my friends. It's great to have you guys. And we'll be back tonight for the Toxically Masculine Tuesday with Mike Barra. hopefully. And we'll do another one of these on Thursday. All right. Well, thank you so much for listening and participating, hanging in there. And we'll do it all again soon. Take care. See you soon. I'm out. Thank you. Goodbye.